Well, hello, fellow crafters. It's just about time to start. It's almost 7 o'clock here in my time zone and 5 o'clock Pacific time, which is our company time, Pacific time. And I can see we have a few of you here logging in to join all the fun we have going on tonight. All right, Deborah, Denise. Okay. Yes, Denise already says, can't see to order on your site. Shopify is our shopping platform, and they seem to know when we are going to have a release, and they tend to have technical difficulties on the exact same day. And I know that's wonderful karma, I guess. But just know that they are working on it. So welcome, everybody. I see a bunch of you here. Just know that Wendy is behind the scenes trying to get Shopify to help us with that. If you're having trouble ordering, stick with us. We do have a workaround, which we'll go over here in a minute when a few more of you are there. But I see lots of you. Hi, Pamela, Sue, Anne, Linda, Kelly, Sandy, Sarah, Kathy, Leslie, Olga, Sharon. Okay, a whole bunch of you. Welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining me. Let me give you all a tiny little wave real fast from my desk. I am here in very sticky and very hot Texas. We had one of our two AC units in our house go out yesterday, of course. So my office is a nice balmy 84-ish degrees. Thankfully, I do have a portable AC unit that we bought because of hurricane season. And so I am happily hanging out in my office, hoping that tomorrow when the AC guy comes, we'll be back to something a little bit cooler. All right, let me transition over to what we're going to start with tonight. We have a lot going on, so let me just do a brief introduction. Actually, let me go back to my cards. That way you can have a chance to look at something more fun than just the kit here. Okay. Tonight, it is our Christmas in July event. My name is Ginger Williams, for those of you who maybe haven't had a chance to be introduced to me before. I am the art director for Queen & Company, which means I help design products, but I also am a bit of a product photographer. I'm also on the design team. I have the wonderful fun of working with things I get to create for Queen & Company, and then having a chance to introduce them to all of you. And then the best part of all, watching all of you amazing customers post your creations of what you've made with the products I got a chance to design. That's my favorite part. My second favorite part, though, is getting a chance to actually be with you and talk to all of you. So let's go ahead and dive in. We have lots of great things launching tonight. We have 2 new kits. We have 5 new embellishments, and we also have 2 brand new foundation sets. So I'll be walking you through all of that and giving you the details of each product, how it can be used, tips and tricks, all that kind of stuff. Let me show you, now that I think we have a lot of you on, that we do have, let's see, a discount tonight, and you're definitely going to want to check it out because it's significant. Wendy did a fabulous job working her magic to work in a 25% off discount. You probably have already seen it on the website if you've tried to order, but in case you haven't, you've been waiting to get a look at everything before placing your order, keep in mind that you can get 25% off those things in the Christmas in July category with the code JOY25. All right, let's back it back up to the first thing I want to talk about tonight, which is kind of our big, main, exciting kit. This is the Christmas Cookies Kit. And it has a absolutely fabulous amount of dies in it. I think it's actually 21 dies. There are 16 foam and acetate rings that are going to make your cookies. And then it also has a 4x6 stamp set. So technically this is one of our shaped shaker kits, but it's a little bit bigger than our average shape shakers. Usually you only have a couple of dies, handful of dies, but here you have a whole bunch because you can make a whole bunch of Christmas cookies with them. It also has a larger stamp set than we usually put in our shape shaker sets. Those are usually 3x4s. This one is a full 4x6. And let's go look at the stamp set and what the physical products look like over on my desk. We'll clear some of my samples away here. And again, if you're just joining us now and you have been on the website and had technical difficulties ordering, just know we're aware of that. Shopify is having issues today, and we are going to be, Wendy's already working with Shopify to try to get those resolved. She does have a workaround if you don't want to wait. she has a way for you to be able to place your order. You can fill your cart, and then we can send you an email to let you order that way. So we can, or you can email us, tell us what you want. We can manually enter your order. So if you're worried about things selling out or anything like that, please know you can contact us. We can send you that link to check out. But yet we are having some people order successfully, so we're not really sure what the issue is. Just know that we'll be working on that throughout the night, I am sure. So hopefully soon that will be straightened out. And if you've had trouble ordering, you might just try again, because again, we've had people who've said they've had trouble who've somehow all of a sudden had it work out for them. Okay. And I know Wendy's also in the chat answering questions too. If you have additional questions, feel free to put it there. But let's look at the stamp set. Like I said, it's larger than our usual ones. In our shape shakers, at least. It's the same size as the ones in our full kits. And let's see, there we go, on camera. And you've got all kinds of cookies and sweets and baking related Christmas puns. Wishing you a sweet holiday. It's a baking Christmas cookies kind of day. Seasons, treatings. That's one of my favorites, although you could also cross-use that one for Halloween. Mix, bake, and be merry. Oh, Christmas treats. Bake the season bright. All you need is peace, joy, and Christmas cookies. Hope your holiday is the sweetest. Just a simple happy Christmas. 'Tis the season to make cookies. Swedish Christmas greetings to you. It's not Christmas without cookies. And may your holiday be sprinkled with joy. So all kinds of great punny sentiments to go with your cookies. And like we mentioned before, you get 2 sets of the foam. So you get 16, or 2 sheets of the foam, 16 available shakers already pre-cut and self-adhesive for you, and your pre-cut acetate covers. And then these are the dies. And there's a whole, like I said, 21 different dies in here. And you can kind of get a feel for their size. They're not terribly big, but they have lots of details. And here is also the die guide that is included in your set. Let me zoom out just a bit so you can see it better. There it is. Okay, and this will be included in your kit, and it gives you all of the die recipes needed to be able to create each of your 10 different versions of Christmas cookies in this set. There's lots of fun options, and they mix and match really beautifully, as we'll see in some samples in just a moment. But I wanted you to get a look at how things do come together to be able to make it fun and easy to create a whole bunch of fun things. Let me also talk about the top of this die guide just a little bit. Christmas cookies. I was trying to decide whether or not we just go full symmetrical with just a perfect circle, or just slightly asymmetrical in order to make it look a little bit more like a real cookie. And I did decide to go with slightly imperfect, only it's very slight, just enough to help it look like an actual cookie. But you might be wondering why you have a couple different dies in this set that are circles. And that's just to help you with that asymmetrical part, as well as to give you options for if you're doing a shaker versus non-shaker, and how you might want to layer things in order to make it a little easier. And as I create a card later today, we'll talk a bit more about that. But I wanted to let you know that it is on here if you want to create your base layer for under your foam, and the different layers that go on top of your foam to make it easier to work with that non-asymmetrical aspect. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's all spelled out for you in the die guide. So just know, if you're wondering why there's an extra kind of like outline die, oh, and I should mention that too, there is no separate outline dies for this. They're in the kit. So yay for that, right? Always makes everybody happy. Okay, I'm going to check your comments real fast. Linda says, perfect sizing to add more than one to your card. Oh, yes, Linda, definitely. And I know she did some beautiful work with that with her samples, but me too. I couldn't have just one on a card. It looked to me even cuter to do more. So let's go. I'm going to transition over to my desk and let's look at some samples. The design team absolutely knocked it out of the park with this, as always. And I can't wait to show you what they came up with. You've probably seen some of them on the website already. But, oh, and of course, Marianne gave her wonderful teases with all of her fun little creations that she later created cards with. That was a fun way to introduce this kit to many of you. All right. So this one is from me. This is a trio of some of our characters here. Our snowman, our penguin, and our gingerbread. And my camera light didn't really pick up that the penguin is a shaker very well, but he is. In person, you can tell that. I use the not Jolly Jingles. What is it called? This one, Happy Holiday paper pad with this one. And you're getting a sneak peek of what we'll talk about a little later here on almost everyone's cards with our new foundation dies. So if you're kind of eyeballing these and going, those look new, well, you're right. Those are our new foundation dies. We also have little peeks at some of the embellishments that we'll talk more about later on several of the samples here today. And speaking of Linda, isn't this cute? She just decided to make a non-shaker in the cookie, but to make the shaker from our previous, let's see, that's homemade holiday kit. So she got the baking tray out and made herself a fun little penguin cookie on that. And this is a cute little tag instead of a card. And again, you see peeking from behind that some of our new foundation dies. So super, super cute. And I love the colors. And also emphasizing that fun blue color. Here's Mary Ann with this really beautiful card. And I love her little pop of pink. That's so Mary Ann, and it's gorgeous on this card. And she's got this fun little snowflake cookie on her card. Okay, and from Greta. Sorry, need a drink of water. It is warm in here. I've got this fabulous, she's got this fabulous penguin, and you can see her shaker item's a little better. I went with black. Maybe that was a mistake. You can see how much cuter her fun, clear little embellishments look shaking behind her penguin face in her little cookie. So really fun. Sweetest Christmas greetings to you. And she used the bow that, actually, I think that one might be from a different kit. I'll have to take a closer look. But the bow is a cute, fun accent. And from Mary Ann, she went with the Christmas tree on this very beautiful and fun traditional colored card. Love that she pulled in some of those dies that we'll talk about from our new foundations. And she's got some of those new embellishments that we'll talk about in a bit too. Very beautiful. And another tag from Linda, this time again emphasizing that fun pink and that one of my favorites, I think maybe from the set, the snowflake cookie. Really cute. And she also went back to homemade holiday. I think several of us did, and pulled out the cookie jar because, of course, cookie jar for homemade holiday. It makes a perfect companion to this particular kit if you happen to have it. And from Mary Ann, she's got not just one shaker or two, but four. I think her and I were channeling some of the same vibes with that concept. You'll see in a minute. But the foursome she's got here is super cute. She's got like 4 characters all together, which is really fun and cute. And I love that she added the scallop layer behind her cookies. She's got really fancy cookies here. Oh, beautifully done. And then here's my version of a foursome, again with a square card. I only used one character, and I pulled in some of the other ones to go with it. On my cards, you'll notice I have a lot of this foam, either in glitter or just regular. I always thought when I die cut from fun foam, especially self-adhesive fun foam, that it looks like frosting. And so I went ahead and did that from fun foam to kind of make it seem a little bit more like it was actual frosted cookies. I also took some ink to the edges just to kind of give my cookies a little bit of a browned effect around the edges. And we'll do that again when I create a card with you a little later. I'll show you how I did that. And look at Mary Ann as she took the present cookie and just made a bunch. How many's on there? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 cookies on this card. How cute is that? So, and I love that she used our winterberry frost papers there. That's a fun, different kind of feel for it with those beautiful colors from that paper pad. Lovely. All right, and Linda, again, mixing kits. Let's see if I can remember correctly. This one is Santa's Workshop, right? I think that the reindeer are from. And she's mixed that with the fun Santa cookie from this kit. Sweetest Christmas greetings to you. She's also taken one of my favorite things about the new foundations that we'll talk about here in a bit for her background layer. And I love how she's got this stripes going on here. And we'll talk about how that works in the new foundations in just a bit. And Greta, she's got a fun trio of cookies here. Our wreath and the elf hat and the Christmas tree. Beautifully done. And this one, these are some, you can see what this would look like too with some of our older foundations. All kinds of good options here. There's another look at some of my fun foam cut with those dies. And if you've never cut fun foam with dies, oh, you have to try it. And especially if you get this kit, because it just looks like frosting. There's just this fun little extra dimension that just looks like somebody took a piping bag, somebody with way better skills than I have, and made beautiful things happen with frosting, which I can't do, but I can do it with foam. All right, and from Mary Ann, she also did a tag just like Linda did, and she's got our fun present cookie here. And I love that she added from our banner foundations a cute little banner across her tag. Great, fun, bright colors. And in more traditional colors, she kind of created her own little kind of like baker's sheet or window from, is that foundation? It's either 7, I think it's 7. Nope, it's the bigger one, probably 14. From foundation 14, creating a frame around all of her cookies and her fun little trio of shakers. This kit really, I did make the cookies small enough that it just seemed like they called for a group. I mean, who wants to eat just one cookie, right? You can see that almost all of our designers went with multiple cookies on their card. Like I did here. Here's a bunch of non-shakers. So you can see that that fun foam concept works great whether you have a shaker or a non-shaker. And then I want to draw your attention down here. We'll talk about this when we talk about embellishments, but this row here of metallic silver pearls is going to be the embellishments, one of the embellishments that we'll talk about here. But keep an eye on that. That's, I think I was one of the only ones who had access to the embellishments because they came in kind of late, at least those embellishments, and they are fun to work with. And we'll come back to that card in a minute when I talk about them. All right, from Linda, she pulled in Mrs. Claus from the Santa's Workshop kit, and she took the cookie here and just made it part of putting her sentiment on the card. Super cute, and I love that she pulled in the a spatula and the whisk from that kit as well. And we're going to do that when we make my card later today. You'll see how we ink the edges, and I pulled in some of those same tools. So great minds think alike there, Linda. Or Greta, sorry, that was Greta's card. And also from Greta, Mix, Bake, and Be Merry. She's got the Santa Claus cookie going on. And again, just like the card previously, she used one of the cookie dies as an opportunity to stamp her sentiment. And I love how she channeled her like Santa colors here too with her red and her black. And Mary Ann with this gorgeous wreath card. And yeah, there are so many cards. Sorry, we have a lot. There's 2 left though, but aren't they fun to see all together? She's got the wreath cookie, and she took some of those wreath dies from our, I want to say the holiday foundation dies, right? And added a wreath around her wreath cookie. It looks like it's on a gorgeous platter. I love it. And again with that winterberry pattern paper. So pretty and so fun. And then this last card featuring the cookies from Linda is so cute. Mix, Bake, and Be Merry. She created this fun little like cookie tin with a window. And I think I can get it to play the video. She actually made a video. Let's see if I can transition that over. Oh, yeah, here it is. Look at that. Isn't this amazing? You can see how it actually opens, and you can actually open up to see the cookies inside a little better. And then I love how she took her sentiment and stamped it on, I believe that's vellum, and then put it on the top of her fun little card, or her cover, acetate cover. And so you can kind of see the cookies through that. I think that's totally genius, and I love that she did that. Okay, so let's go over to my desk again. Actually, well, let me show you what we're going to look at first. So that's the Christmas cookies kit. It's adorable and fun, and we're so lucky to have so many amazing, talented designers to be able to show us, you know, all the fun, creative options they can come up with it. Okay, so now let's talk about this kit right here. This is the Joy Shaped Shaker Kit. Let me pull over my dies on my desk and move the camera over. Okay, so let's take a look at exactly what comes in this kit. So you get the large, super large dies, because this, of course, are shaped. If you haven't played with a shaped card kit before, the idea is that your A2 card, this is going to take up the vast majority of that card space. And so you don't have to do a ton of designing. It's a simple, fun, and easy way to get a card done fast, especially a shaker card. But you have your background die or outline die, you have your decorative die, and then I know on the website it says you get 4 or 2 dies, but technically you get 4 because part of the title, you know, the O is going to have a center to it, and your Y has this fun little die in there too. So technically there's 4 dies, but basically you have the decorative die and the bottom die in there. And then you also have 4 of the foam pieces and 4 of the acetate. So it's a simple kit. It doesn't have stamps or embellishments in it, but we have plenty of that you can add on, and plenty of Christmas stamps if you decide you want something besides Joy on your card for this kit. And of course you can buy additional foam refills for this kit or Christmas cookies or any of our previous kits that we still have those in stock for. Let's take a look at some samples with this kit. Again, design team knocked it out of the park. Let's see if I can pull those up real fast. Joy, 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 where did you go? Thought I had this all in order. Okay, here we go. But I moved things around at the last minute. change my mind about how to talk about things. All right. How cute is this from Linda? Again, that same reindeer that she used on one of her Christmas cookie cards, she's got here on this beautiful Joy card from the Santa's Workshop kit. And she even pulled in some of those cookies from the homemade holiday kit. So love that she's showing you how all of these kits can work together so beautifully. I also love too that she didn't even need to worry about having a separate paper for inside of her Joy. She just went straight to applying her foam, looks like right on the background layer, I believe. And it looks amazing. I love how you can see her background paper, this cute Christmas tree paper, through her white Joy die cut. Super cute. Love the reindeer. Love that there's two of them. Just really, really cute. And they're eating the cookies. Doesn't get any cuter than that. All right. And then this one here from Greta. She's got this beautiful holly leaves and this beautiful poinsettia from our holiday foundation dies on here. She's filled it up with some of these great shaker embellishments that are coming, that are back in, I don't know if they're back in stock or they've been put into the Christmas category at least. So if you're looking for some fun shaker embellishments, those are in the 25% off category for tonight. And she chose the Joy and Peace on Earth, which is the perfect sentiment. I think that's from one of our very early kits. I think that's from Mary and Bright, I think. Beautiful job, Greta. And from Mary Ann, pulling in some of those fun untraditional colors that Mary Ann is just famous for. Super pretty, super cute, super fun, and what a great fun vibe. And she's pulled in some great movement to the eye from some of those foundations that we'll get to momentarily. And not to be outdone in the color schemes with her previous one, she's got this great, beautiful, bright colored Joy card. And again, pulling in those banner foundations across. Super creative and super cute. Can't help but smile when you see that color combination. And from Greta, look how cute. She took the inside leftover remains from when you die cut with the Joy decorative layer die. And she said, nothing goes to waste. Let's make something cute out of it. And she sure did. And I love that this is a non-shaker card. I mean, how cute is that she thought to frame that beautiful Christmas tree die from last year's, or that Holiday Foundations 2, I think. That really, really cute. Love that she added that in the middle of her O. Adorable. And then Linda, again, combining kits. Here is from our Endless Christmas Laundry. What do we call this one? Christmas Laundry? That doesn't sound right. Christmas Clothesline. There we go. My brain remembers things sometimes. But how cute is that she did her Christmas clothesline across her Joy card? That is just stinking adorable. Love it, love it, love it. And also love this. Here's Marianne showing us that you can do a lot more than just Christmas cards with the Joy. Lots of good reasons to have Joy, and a new baby on the way is a perfect reason. And I love how she pulled in those beautiful blue colors and layered it with the baby die cut. Super cute, adorable, and fun. So yes, you can get multiple uses out of this kit. Here's another one from Greta, another non-shaker version. And she pulled in from the Christmas cookies kit. Well, I shouldn't say non-shaker. The Joy is not a shaker, but she pulled in the Christmas cookies shaker to be added in the middle of that, along with, so she's got the present accents from this kit as well as the elf hat. So really cute. And these are some of the new embellishments that we'll talk about next. All right, one more in the Joy category. Here's Greta, and she pulled in, again, those same Holiday 2 foundation dies that we talked about earlier, but this time with the Christmas lights, which also looks really cute strung out across her beautiful shaker in tone-on-tone whites with all those clear shaker items in there. That's so pretty. So amazing job, everybody. Love what you all came up with for this kit. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about those embellishments, shall we? We have 5 new ones that just got released. Let's see if I can pull up my photo of all of them together. There they are. Okay. So if you've been over on the website in the Christmas in July section, then you'll see that we've got something kind of brand new, which are these fun little adhesive strips of pearls in gold and silver, as well as some fun rhinestones in Christmas colors, and then these fun pinwheels, which work great. You saw a few of our designers use them in samples inside their shakers even, and you've got them in this fun winter colors and in the fun traditional reds and greens for Christmas. So let me take you to my desk. Let's look at them in person. Move the Joy kit out of the way. You can get a better feel for what they look like here. I'm trying to keep track of your comments, but I know a lot of you are just having trouble with the with the shopping cart. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, glittered fun foam. I think that just came from a big box craft store. The glittered fun foam I used on my cookie samples. Okay, so let's talk. So here's just the regular rhinestones. I love that they come in all these different sizes. I'm constantly putting little scattering of embellishments on my cards, so I absolutely love when we get like a trio of sizes like this. And these are perfect sizes for scattered rhinestones. So red, green, oh, that's a sneak peek for a different time. Forgot that was in there. And of course, clear. And then let's talk about, well, here's your pinwheels. And we've done this self-adhesive versions before, but you get these great two different colors of blue and these clear. And I'll be using these on some cards in just a moment. We'll get a better look at how those work. Same thing here in the Christmas colors. But let's talk about these for a minute. So these strips of pearls, again, in those fabulous 3 sizes. Let me lift up one so you can kind of see how they work together. See how they're connected? So first time we've done something like this that I'm aware of at least, and I've been here almost since the very beginning. But how fun is that? That gives you a chance to have a really cool, fun border. And then I even pulled a few of them apart and just stuck them down just as individual embellishments too. So they work either way. Although with this one, I pulled them off. I don't know if you can see that. I pulled them off of the glue and just used them individually and put a little dot of glue down separately. So self-adhesive, you can cut them apart, but I'm not sure. If to me, it was just simpler just to do it with my own little dot of glue. But again, like I said, 3 sizes and 2 colors. Let me show you the gold ones. There's the same thing in the gold. Really pretty and super shiny, like just reflective and fun. I love pearls, but these metallic ones are even more fun. So let me pull up my card here so you can get a better look at that little row here. It was super easy. It took more than one, but I bet you can't tell where the seam is. It came together really easy. I think the seam is over here somewhere. Super easy and in only seconds. It was easy to train around a curve because that self-adhesive glue strip is flexible. And then you can see some of these pinwheel embellishments and some of the rhinestones here. So great way to deck out your Christmas cookie cards or any other Christmas cards you might have. Let's see. Here is one of the cards that I just pulled the pearls individually off of the adhesive sheet and just glued them down individually. And I love that they're so tiny. These make perfect kind of almost like little metallic rivets. So I love that. And I did that on multiple cards. There you go on this one. There. And I don't know. I guess it was a theme for me to use it on my cinnamon strip as well. Just looked really cute that way. And again, same idea here. I pulled them off individually and used the pinwheels as well as some of those rhinestones. So super fun and easy to use and quick and just add so much to a card just by having a couple of fun and easy embellishments. So let's talk about foundation dyes, because that is the last little bit of product, new product at least, to talk about. Let's take a look here. Okay, so this one is foundation set 32. And this one here is 33. And there is a lot going on here in terms of options of fun things you can do. So let me also show you another thing that we put out with these, and that is that they come with sketches. Here is sets 33 sketches, which kind of gives you a better idea of how some of those shapes might be layered or used together. And then here are the sketches for set 34. And you can kind of note and see why some of the dies that maybe don't make a whole lot of sense here. You might be like, well, why do you want these weird trapezoid type shapes and things like that? They might be confusing at first, but that's because they come together and can be used to create these fun backgrounds on cards. So you can see here, kind of gives the example of using just the 4 pieces, the 4 smallest trapezoid pieces or triangle piece for this corner piece. Or if you use the 4 of them and then cut, there are 4 dies, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can turn them the opposite direction and complete the whole card front in fun strips, which is a great way to show off a paper pad. So let me show you what the actual dies look like. We go back over here. Here is 33, and these right now are being sold only in a bundle. You can get them together for a bit of a discount right now. They'll probably be eventually sold separately, but right now you can only get them as part of the bundle. And this is 34. So there's those funny trapezoid pieces I was talking about. Everything else is a little more self-explanatory. We've added some fun ovals in both sets. This one's kind of more of a rectangular, rounded rectangle, but it's also a bit oval. I'm not really sure which one. It's more oval or more rectangle, but it's a fun new shape with a nice big area, perfect for showcasing some of our larger shakers. This one's really fun. We'll look at some cards in a moment that feature this, and you saw some earlier. But this one kind of gives you this fun, almost like burlap texture that just is a way to add a little bit of visual interest behind an element or in front. And then these are fun, kind of like new little like bursts. Kind of almost more like a retro or 50s feel to them, but they can be used in all kinds of ways, which you've been seeing on some samples, and we'll see some more. Another fun focal point piece. These are kind of like washi tape, right? So you can use them as just a decorative element, but of course they can also be used as a sentiment holder as well. You've got kind of a nice long skinny sentiment strip here as well too. And then this one is a rectangle that we have not added before, but I frequently feel like I have larger rectangles, like, let's see, I think this one's actually from our slimline, but I often kind of want to layer two pieces together, and I just felt like we needed this kind of shape to match up with some of our other rectangles to kind of give you that ability to layer in a piece that wouldn't go all the way across. This one's not quite 4 1/4 or 5 1/2. It's going to be one that's not going to go quite top to bottom, but give you a little bit different size than we've had before. So that's 33. And then a closer look at 34, not only do you have these great trapezoid pieces that come together for that great paper stripped background, but I thought about doing a die that would just cut a piece of paper in all of those shapes all at once. But then I thought, if you're going to do that fun paper strip background in different papers, that means you have to cut it, like 8 times, and then you have to mix and match. And that can be great if you're mass producing, but you don't always want to mass produce. And not only that, but it takes it takes a lot of paper that way. Here, if you're just using little, one die for one piece of paper, it's not taking very much of that paper, and you can save that paper for another project. So I decided to separate them, and I'm loving how that turned out. That was really fun to work with. And I've got a card we're going to make together in a few minutes using that concept too, and you'll see how fun and easy it comes together. And then these are fun. So you've got this is a 5 1/2 inch wide piece, but it's fun. Rounded bottom, and then you've got this fun rounded border that can match it. You can layer on top of it, layer under it, to give you some fun options in just a curve there. So that's that. And then you've also got this fun kind of swirly curved border piece, which is the same kind of concept to give you a border that is less static and less straight than our other border pieces. And then just kind of a fun new size for a scallop circle, just as an accent, and some fun little tiny sentiment strips. I sometimes need something even thinner than what we've had before. These are all different than ones we've had before, slightly different sizes. And I love that these are really nice and thin, because some of our sentiment stamps are thin like that, and you just need a good home base. Sometimes it doesn't take up very much of the card. You have a big shaker or a big show-stopping piece on it. Sometimes you just need a little tiny sentiment, something simple like hello or just something short and simple, and those are perfect little sentiment dies for that. Okay, so that's the basics behind 32 and 33. Let's go back to looking at samples now, because there is some fabulous stuff done with this kit, such as this fun one from Marianne, and you can see how cute and how easy her fun little background came together. And she chose to just go with 2 papers and alternate them. So for this one, she could run the 4 dies through with one paper, and then the 4 dies again through with the other paper, and then just mix and match. And then she's got this great background for this really cute card. And she pulled in from the last year's kit, the Naughty and Nice kit, this cute little Santa. Really, really fun. All right, and here's Greta giving a fabulous example of how you can use that kind of wavy border die. I love that she went with this great bold colors and added 4 of them across her card, and kind of making that the home for her focal points. Really, really cute, super creative, and fabulous colors. All right, and from Linda, here you've got a fun use of that rounded border and this fun non-traditional color scheme from the Merriam Bright paper pad. Very, very cute. Ho, ho, ho. And she's got a fun way to show you how those accent dies can look together layered with another one behind it. Very, very cute. And from Greta, I love that she took the largest trapezoid dies and didn't use them and just used the 3 smallest sizes and then left this area open on her card to be able to add her sentiment and her focal points. Really, really cute and creative. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but I love it. And I love that she added her sentiment on a slant. One thing I love too is that, oh, and I should have mentioned earlier that those strips, obviously they don't take up quite the whole card. I tried to make them a little smaller so you do have the chance to still use, like this is foundation 8 and this is foundation 3 dies to be able to give yourself this great little border around your sentiment strips, or not sentiment strips, your pattern paper strips, your strips that make up this fun card. At first I thought we might design it to go edge to edge, but I just thought it made it a little more versatile if you could actually have those borders. So if you're somebody who loves to put little thin borders to help tie it all together, you're going to love that you can use foundation 8 or 30 and 3 as this thinner one here to help you put your pieces together. So cute, cute, cute. All right, and from Mary Ann, again using those rounded pieces, as well as that one of the new rectangles. It does go all the way across. And that fun, beautiful little rounded border. Really fun. Love that she's got the shaker and the non-shakers together. And then Greta showing you that, yet again, it doesn't have to be Christmas themed. You can use these foundation dies on anything. And she took that little tiny triangle piece here and used it more as an accent, which is fabulous. And she's showing you how great this new focal point is. It's just a great little home base for a lot of our shakers. All right, and back to Christmas with Mary Ann. This one is the Noel shaker from our, let's see, this is the shape shaker we released last year at Christmas time. I can't remember what it was called. I'll have to look it up. But the Noel ornament is one of my favorites from that kit. Really pretty. And she's got that new oval and just makes a perfect home base, as well as that great big long rounded edge sentiment strip from the new foundations. All right, and I'm sorry, I should be checking your comments a little better. Let's see. Kathy says those rounded pieces are my favorites. Don't they make great little homes for all of our shakers and non-shakers too? The focal points, it's great for that. Let's see. Looks like Wendy's helping you through all of your orders, and I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. If you would please please be patient as she helps you with that. But also, tell the technology gremlins to leave our release days alone, please. So. All right, from Greta, I love that she used the border die kind of opposite the way most of the designers had it. Most of us had it going downward in a curve, and I love that she showed that you can also use it upward in a curve. How great is that to draw the eye upward across your card? Really fun, and I love that she used that bold striped paper to do that. It's a perfect way to tie the eye movement across the card on her beautiful birthday card. And she's got another fun way to use those accents with the, large matte embellishment in the center. Almost looks more like a flower, but it also still looks like a kind of a burst. It could be either one. Really cute. And here's Linda again using the nativity set from that same kit that the Noel shaker is in. And I believe this one's back. I believe all of those are back now on the website. Matter of fact, maybe I can go see. Yes. So if you go in the Christmas in July section, that is going to be one of the cards or one of the kits that is in the 25% off category. You've got the Naughty or Nice, which was released last year for Christmas. Oh, and Holiday Foundations 2 is there, and so is, Silent Night. That's the name of that kit. Okay. All right, back to talking about cards. But isn't this cute? Really, really cute. And I love that she just went tone on tone white with the background here, and she's got that fun little, like I said, almost like a burlap or a cloth embellishment just to give it a little extra texture. And then she did the same thing I did by pulling up some of those gold pearls and separating them and using them as accents on her card. Lovely, lovely. And Mary Ann with pulling in some of those fun colors from the Naughty and Nice kit, the wintry type colors, for a non-traditional take on our Naughty and Nice meter. And you can see all of the new foundation dies on her kit, including that fun washi tape and this sentiment strip that she used as an accent. Beautifully done and fun, and lots of those new pinwheel embellishments. She's done a great job. And here's another fun take on that strip background. And you can see that Linda did the same as Greta, leaving the middle open as a way to showcase her focal point. A little better. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. I'm losing my voice already. And I love that she chose to do hot chocolate on this card. It's perfect for those fun winter colors. Looks like it's going to warm us right up. And Greta, again, not Christmas, showing you that those foundation dies work for all kinds of cards again. And I love that she took her oval and actually rotated it probably a way I wouldn't have thought to use, but in this gorgeous way to really highlight and really give this fabulous home base to her big, large sentiment. Great colors on that. Love her color choices. And last one with our new foundation dies, again from Greta, showing you how well that these two different die sets can work together. And I love that she added fun little texture borders behind things and extra texture from that burlap die. Beautiful flowers, birds, everything so cute. I love those purple colors too. Okay, so that is all of the new items that are being released. They're all brand new, so if you are wondering if you've bought them before, you haven't, because they're brand new as of this afternoon. And keep in mind you can have that discount, and let's see, I do believe there is a bundle. Let me scroll back up to the bundle. Yep, there it is. So if you're looking for the foundation dies, if you're looking for the Joy Shaped Shaker card or the Christmas cookies, they do come together in one large bundle, and you can definitely go check that out. Okay, back to my desk. Let's have some fun playing with them together. While I start pulling some things out, I'm going to try to scroll the comments a little better. But thanks for letting me show so many cards. I know we've spent a lot of time looking at cards, but aren't they so awesome? Let me ask a few questions first of all. How many of you do Christmas in July? How many of you do something related to it, whether it's crafting or whether it's just Christmas movies or whatever it is? Let's see. I've got 3 choices. We should make the mystery, huh? I'm going to try to buzz through 3 different cards with you guys tonight. So why don't you drop in the comments if you'd rather work on Christmas cookies first, or would you rather work on just some stuff with our new foundation dies? And I won't reveal which yeah, I should put them down so you can see them all 3. Which one is which, but drop in the comments what you do for Christmas in July, if you do anything. And let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more here. And we'll pick one of our 3 cards to get working on. So Christmas, tell me if you want Christmas cookies first, or if you'd rather work on just new foundations and focus on those. And I'm going to scroll through and look at comments for just a minute here. All right. And I know Wendy, please be patient with Wendy. She's working hard to get your emails and to get your orders in. Ah, Carol, thanks for shout out for the design team members. They did outdo themselves, didn't they? Gorgeous. Loretta, I make my Christmas cards in July. Good for you. I need to do that someday. Cookies. I see lots of votes for cookies. Okay. Joy says she starts her advent calendars and homemade gifts for Christmas in July. Many of you are way smarter than me. I need to start earlier. All right. Let's see. Hallmark Christmas movies for Elaine in July. Christmas PJs for Linda. Nice. Okay. Since I was working on these kits last week, I did actually pull out some of my favorite Christmas movies while I was working on this. You guys have any favorite Christmas movies? It looks like Christmas cookies is going to be the winner. So we'll start with Christmas cookies. And that one is going to be this dish right here. Let me put these other 2 aside for later. The movies I was watching last week, my favorite movie actually of all time is somewhat of a Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life. That's my favorite movie, and I guess technically also my favorite Christmas movie. But then I also have a favorite musical. You guys ever seen Christmas Carol the musical? That is a lot of fun. Those were the 2 I was watching last week while I was getting ready for this. Drop your favorite Christmas movie in the comments. Well, I get ready to do Christmas cookie card with you guys. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. Whoops. Taking the camera, sorry. You can see how I'm doing here. All right. So I'm going to start with my card base. And the papers I'm using are from the Naughty and Nice kit, but there's lots of great papers available that you could use with this kit. You know, it doesn't come with papers, but any of our Christmas paper pads would work. North Pole and several others. I think, let me see, I wrote myself a list, are in the 25% off category. We've got Winterberry Frost, North Pole, Cozy Christmas, and Winter Wonderland, all on the 25% discount. But if you happen to have any of the others, on my cards, I use a little bit of North Pole, I use some Happy Holidays, and then the ones we're going to do tonight are all featuring Naughty and Nice. So if you happen to have those, you can duplicate what we're doing here if you have the Christmas Cookies kit and the new foundations eventually. Those are the papers. Also, mine are prototype papers, so you'll notice they're not double-sided. But otherwise, they're identical to what you have. So I'm just going to take this background paper from Foundation 8 and make it the backdrop here for our, oh, wrong one, for our Christmas cookies card. I love this fun little like holly type pattern. It makes a great background. It's not too busy. Doesn't take away too much from our focal points. All right, that looks good. And now from our new foundations, we do have these two pieces. This is from Foundation 32. And I'm just going to glue that right to the center of our card here. All right. Get that going here. I wanted to show you just how fast and easy these Christmas cookies come together. They're a real nice, easy shaker since they don't have a whole lot of complicated pieces. You know, some of our Christmas ones, especially in the past couple of years, have been very busy. And so it's nice to have these as an option for those who want a simpler shaker. And although we tended to use multiples on one card, you certainly don't have to. And you could certainly go with something like one shaker and one non-shaker cookie or something like that if you do still want to have multiples without too much extra going on there or extra foam needed. Okay, so that's going to be the basic layout of our card. I did already pre-stamp our sentiment, which will go along the bottom here. But I'm not going to place it just yet. So I want to get our cookies assembled. Well, I cheated a little. I did already assemble my little snowman shaker. So he's ready to go. And he's going to live up here. But let's go ahead and make one of these Christmas cookies together just so you can see how they do come together. And let me get my pieces out before I fill them. And we'll move this over so I can keep this centered in the camera. Okay. So this is going to be the snowflake cookie. And I'm going to show you how it comes together. But first, we're going to go ahead and ink the edges, like I mentioned earlier, of this little cookie layer. And I want to mention that oh, sorry, I need my little piece of scrap paper and I forgot to get it out. Grabbing the scrap paper, just a second. Okay, here we go. For inking purposes. That we've had cookies in other kits before, but this layer is actually going to go on top of our shaker layer. So you see the decorative die, it's on top, but this layer is also on top. Let me show you it to you from the side so you can see. I felt like that helped it look a little more like a cookie. If that outer brown layer was further down, sometimes it's hard to see. You know, there's a lot of dimension in our foam. So this time I thought we tried putting it up a little higher. So if you've done a cookie before, just know it's a little different. And so you'll see as we assemble, our foam is a little wider, and that's to accommodate both layers being on top. So if you look at that and go, why does that look different? That's the reason behind that, is to help it look a little more realistic. But let me take my blending brush, and I just have a really basic, really old brown ink, but it has served me well for a long time, so I'm still using it. I'm just going to take my little blending brush, and you could do it with other types of brushes, but I'm just going to take that and we're going to quickly just go around and ink the edges just a bit to give it that fun little browned in the oven look to our cookie here. This particular ink doesn't even have a name. It's one of those really cheap ones you could have bought at like a big box craft store like 20 years ago. But it's funny how some of those inks have been my favorite over the years because they're still going strong. Not that I use them a whole ton, but I have used them and they haven't dried up over all this time. And yeah, I've probably bought that one, maybe not 20 years ago, maybe 15, but it's been a while. And yet, still works well. Sometimes those basic cheap ones actually are worth owning. I don't even know. Does anyone know? Is Rubber Stampede even still around? Maybe. Don't know. But their inks are... They're in your craft room. Okay. I'm not sure how well that's showing up on camera, but I'm just brushing all around the edges. And if it doesn't translate well on the camera, just know in person it looks amazing. Just to give it that fun little extra crispy edge, slightly more realistic. And you can, I know some people like to do it like this, but trying to just get just the edges just barely, and it's a little hard to do that. That's why I'm picking it up and doing it in my hands, just to really keep it just to the edges. To blend, blend, blend. So, anyhow, that's what it looks like. And I could keep going another little bit if I wanted to up the effect just a little bit, but I think that looks pretty good. So there's that. I'm going to blend just a little right there. My brush got a little bit too much extra. Okay, good enough. Okay. Cap that ink and put this aside. Okay, so now let's assemble our little cookie together. Move my scrap paper. So here's what I was mentioning earlier, if you were with me earlier, about the dies in the kit. You have a couple of choices. Particularly helpful if you're trying to decide whether or not you're going to make a shaker versus a non-shaker. And let me show you again too on the instruction sheet, which I buried, of course. Here it is. How this would work if you're going to make it as a shaker. So you have this first layer. The foam is going to hide this, and if you're using that middle layer, it will hide all of it. So it doesn't really matter what you use. But I kind of did that for two reasons. One is, suppose you choose to do a red frosting, and you cut this layer out of red, and you use it underneath your foam. Because it's a little asymmetrical, it can be a little tricky to line it up perfect, and then you might have that little bit of red showing from the edges. So I opted to give you this slightly smaller outline die that will still go into the foam really easily, but it doesn't come quite to the edge. And so you can use that without this one if you wish, just to make it easy to put one behind it. Or you can cut this layer from whatever, like cookie top, like the brown layer you want, or from plain white or whatever, and then you could put that underneath your foam so it doesn't stand out and show if it's not lined up perfect. Or you can use it when you're just doing non-shakers, just like this. So there's lots of different ways you could use that die, but the main idea was just to make things a little bit easier, so that you're not trying to line up those slightly non-symmetrical shapes. So I'll show you what I chose to do with this one. Because I'm using a white frosting layer and white foam, I didn't worry too much about it. We're not going to use that middle piece, but just know that you can. I hope that made sense. Drop a comment in there if you need me to explain it a little bit better. But generally, you're going to do like we usually do with our shakers. Okay. So let's peel off that middle foam. And you can see again, because they're not quite symmetrical, and I didn't line it up very well because I'm in a hurry to show you how it works. You can also just do what I'm going to do now, which is trim off that little bit of extra that is showing a little bit. That also works. Because I've got a camera right where my head is at, it makes it hard for me to lean over and see if I had it symmetrical or not. All right, now I'm going to fill my little shaker with just some fun white and clear embellishments. I've got some pearls, some pops and snowflakes, just some older shaker items that I happen to have in my stash from Queen & Company. Those snowflakes are particularly cute when you're doing, for example, say the snowman or the snowflake, which we are. And that's probably pretty good. Don't need to overfill. Want them to be able to shake. Okay, so now we're going to pull up that layer of foam and add our acetate. And you can kind of see that it doesn't matter too much with the acetate if it's perfect or not, because your decorative layer is going to cover that, but there you go. When you take the time to try to make it line up, it works pretty well. Okay, next layer is going to be this fun little cookie layer. And we'll glue that right to the top of our acetate. Get that on there. There we are. It's slightly larger than the foam to help make that even easier, again, to accommodate the fact that I didn't want you fussing too much about trying to make it all perfect when the cookie shape itself isn't perfect. So the same thing with this white frosting layer. It's slightly different too, but it's going to cover that seam really easily, so you don't need to worry too much about getting it to line up. Just want it to get on there, and there you can kind of see how the shape is slightly imperfect, really close to a circle, but it's still pretty easy to layer together since you have those extra pieces. Okay, and then this cookie shape is really simple. It just has just the snowflake that goes on top, and I've cut mine out of just some silver glitter paper. And we'll just add a few dots of glue around the parts of the snowflake to hold it down. Doesn't pop off of there. Okay. That's probably enough glue to hold it on. Okay. All right. So there it goes. And that's our cookie shaker. And as I mentioned earlier, on some of mine, depending on the shape, I cut that decorative layer actually out of fun foam, or the snowflake out of fun foam, for kind of a fun frosting type of effect. All right. So let's get our cookies and our sentiment added to our card, and then I'll show you the last little embellishments from cut from the little accent dies in the homemade holiday kit. I chose to pull a few of those in here, so we'll add a few of those on there too, and I'll place a few of them right now just to kind of help me make sure I get my cookies in the right spot. But yeah, about like that. So we'll quick glue those down, and you'll see how this card came together. Quick and easy thanks to foundation dies and all of the fun pre-cut and pre-done for you stuff in our shakers. Don't you just love the expression on that snowman? Just so cheerful and happy. Those eyes and mouth are the same die that is used for multiple characters in this kit. Sometimes, like for the gingerbread man, you might cut it out of white. And then for others, like the snowman, you might cut it out of black. And this actually is fun foam, self-adhesive fun foam that I cut the eyes and the nose is, of course, glitter fun foam. But that is sometimes a nice, easy way for those accents to be added. Since the fun foam is self-adhesive already. Let's see, about there, I think, for the snowflake cookie. It makes it really easy to just die cut those and then just add them almost like a sticker. And then you get that little bit of extra dimension. Speaking of dimension, let's pop up our sentiment just a bit so it doesn't get lost. Maybe something thicker. With the cookies, the foam of the cookies being a little higher, I'm going to go with these slightly higher foam squares to get our cinnamon strip up. Let's add another one there for stability. All right. Another Christmas question for all of you watching. When do you start putting up the tree? Does it come up before Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving, day before Christmas? When does the tree go up? You can add that in the comments. At our house, usually it's a day or two after Thanksgiving, usually. Depends. My kids, I have several kids and they have lots of activities, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer to actually get us all, because we like to do it together. So we tend to wait until we have a minute for the family to be together. And we frequently do travel for Thanksgiving too, go see family and stuff, so we're not always home. But once we come home and actually have a minute to all be together, usually in the evenings, we get the tree out as a family. I think many of you have met briefly on lives before. My 18-year-old son, he has autism, and he is really huge fan of Christmas. He keeps Christmas alive around here since he loves Santa Claus and all of the magical things that come with it. And so he's usually the first one to insist that we hurry up and get the tree up. He loves to do that. And he keeps all of our traditions alive, all of them, because he likes to make sure we don't drop any of them. So wish we'd never started the elf on the shelf, but we did. And thankfully his younger sister still likes to help out with that one. So I didn't realize when we signed up for that tradition when my boys were little that was going to be a lifetime commitment. Small regrets, but maybe he'll grow out of it eventually. We'll see. Okay. Reading your comments. Most of you say, okay, let's see, before Thanksgiving, at Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving. Sometimes you don't put a tree up. Yeah, sometimes the tree has to wait until December 15th because my daughter's birthday is December 14th. Oh, okay. We have my son who loves Christmas. His birthday is December 23rd. And so he's happy to have it up though, but he does have to, we don't know about needing to share birthdays with Christmas, and that can sometimes not be fun for some people. You want to make sure they get their moment too. All right, so rolling pin, let's get that on here. And spatula will just go on top a little bit here. I love how the little baking accent dies just kind of add that little extra bit of cookie feel. Because baking is definitely one of my favorite holiday traditions at Christmas time. That's the other question too. Those of you who put in the comments about your tree also put in there too. What's your favorite item to bake at Christmas time or make or dish or whatever it is? If you have a favorite holiday treat to make, drop that in the comments as well. All right, let's pop up this spatula. And we'll maybe add just a couple of rhinestones and this card will be all done. And it looks like, oh, knocked my glue over. Like we're already past 8 o'clock, but if you want to hang out with me longer tonight than just the first hour, I do have a couple more cards to make, and I do have a sneak peek. So if you're hoping for that, I do have that planned, if you can hang out with me a little longer. And if not, you can catch it on replay later. Okay, let's see. I've got the fun silver pearls, but then I also have the rhinestones. And maybe we'll do some rhinestones. You know, I think like the pinwheels and stuff, I think it would be too big. There's a lot going on. It's already a very busy card. Maybe we'll just keep it simple with some plain clear rhinestones right now. And again, I just love how they already have these 3 sizes already all set. So you can just kind of quickly, oh, those are too close. Quickly grab them and add them across your card just to kind of help the eye flow in patterns around the card. There we go. What do you think? Maybe some on the sentiment strip too. I'd like to kind of anchor the sentiment strip when there's a little extra space. If the stamp didn't take up the whole thing, it can be nice sometimes to have that a way to visually anchor the sentiment strip as well. All right, so there you go, Christmas cookie card. Isn't that fun? Super easy and fast too. You know, the die cutting didn't take long. If you're gonna recreate that card, it's not hard to do if once you have the foundation dies. Quite easy. Which of course is the point of those foundation dies. I love that they make it so much easier. Okay, so put that one aside. All right, let's work with those strips. I know you saw all of the great design team cards that use those strips, but let's go ahead and quickly show you how they can come together. As I mentioned when we were looking at design team samples, the foundation set 3 has a great rectangle that makes a really great home base for this card. So this first one that I'm adding here is just from foundation 8, just a A2 card front. And it looks like I didn't quite cut my card base quite right. Give me just a second. I'm going to take that over to my trimmer and trim up that bottom, because I don't want that little bit of white showing through. Pardon me for being off camera for just a moment. But there we go. My caterpillar makes quick work out of that little white border. Okay, and then this is from foundation 3. And you can see that it gives you that nice little border of red behind it, but then it also is going to give us just this really great, about 1/16 or maybe even slightly smaller edge for our little strips to live within. And it also kind of makes it a little easier to keep those strips placed right. So if you happen to be picking up the foundation 32-33 bundle and already have foundation 3, you'll love the effect of putting those together. Okay, although it's not necessary, you can certainly do it without 3. Okay, so you can see my strips that I cut earlier. And just for reference, you can kind of see here, let me show you. You have the 4 dies, right? And you can cut 2 with each die. And you can see that's what I've done here. And then just by flipping them over as you layer, you'll see how they come together to make your background. So let's start in this corner. I've got this little green one here in the corner. I can't wait to go back through and read your traditions too. I will catch up with that when I'm done tonight. I'll go back and read your comments. Let's see here. Green in the corner, and then a little holly leaf paper. Especially, you know, if you have just a little bit of scraps left over from a beloved paper pad, this is such a great way to get extra use out of them. You just don't need much, and you can kind of really showcase a favorite paper pad that way. without really having to cut tons and tons of it up. Let's see this one next. Red. And it's a great scrap buster too if you have little scraps left over. Sometimes I debate on whether or not something's big enough to save, and I'm afraid this particular set of dies may make it so I have to up the scraps size that I save, especially if it's a paper pad that I really like. Like I said, it doesn't take much. Even if you just have a little piece left of something that you love, it can still go a long way towards being showcased on a card with this particular set of dies. All right, see how quickly that comes together? I did all of the measuring and planning and math for you so that you don't have to worry about that. Thankfully, my dad has an engineer's brain and he passed a little bit of that down to me. Not a lot, but enough. I can do the math. Oops. Oh, and you know what? I totally told you you're supposed to leave that little white border and then I didn't do it. Well, pardon me for just a minute. We'll have to refix that. We'll leave this little bit of white in the middle. I need to do less talking when I'm crafting in order to be perfect at it. But we'll leave that little thing in the middle and it won't matter because we're going to cover up most of the middle anyways. But yes, if you're going to do 3, don't line it up with the edge like I did. Give yourself that little 1/16 border like I told you about before. Classic mom moment. Do what I say, not what I do, right? Okay. I was wondering why that blue wasn't going to go where it was supposed to. But that's all right. That's what live crafting is all about. Special little, what are they called? What does Bob Ross call them? Not mistakes. They're happy little accidents. It'll give us a unique look on this card. All right. And we'll get our last 2 pieces in place. And you'll still get the general idea of how quick and easy this can come together to give you that fun striped background. You know, with, you know, I've done cards before where I cut my own strips and I lay them out and then I cut them and stuff. One is it creates a lot of waste. And then 2, it also makes it so that you, like sometimes it's hard to orient the stripes the right way. And also sometimes too, you end up with like, these pieces here can be quite long, especially if you're going edge to edge, not just the way I gave you this inner slightly smaller dimensions. And it can be hard to get your strips long enough to get all the way across. This just makes it so much easier to do that. Okay. So let's go ahead and add this fun new little oval. It's kind of, we have other ovals in our foundation die sets, but they're a little bit fatter. I mean, sorry, skinnier. This one's a little fatter. It gives you a little more real estate to work with for adding a focal point, like a shaker. Looks pretty straight, pretty centered. And speaking of focal point, I have these fun little ice skates from our Naughty or Nice kit, and they're definitely nice. And if you're curious too, I'm also following some of the sketches that come with the foundation dies. So if you're wanting to recreate this, other than the fact that I didn't show foundations 3 or 8 in the sketch, the sketches that come with this particular foundation set, set 33, are really easy to follow along and give you the same general idea. So if you're wanting to recreate the look, it's really easy if you have the set and the sketches. All right, and just a little foam squares behind my sentiment to pop it up. And then I've got just a couple of little snowflake embellishments and some of these fun little pinwheel embellishments to add. And this card will also be done. And if you're just popping in or just catching up, I do have a sneak peek to show you at the end. Okay. Another Christmas question. Do you like to sing Christmas carols? Or do you or your family or somebody that you know or love like to sing Christmas carols? We've got both in my household. Camps yes and camp no. A lot of that depends on who thinks they can sing well and who doesn't. But how about you? Are you a fan of singing Christmas carols? Yes or no in the comments. And if so, do you have a favorite? You can add that to the comments as well. Okay, get my ice skates glued down. First our non-shaker. Out there. And then our shaker. Go slightly on top of it. Maybe about there. Let a little more of the other one show. Okay. There is that. Then for embellishments, I did the same thing as the other card that we'll do here in a minute too. Just a couple of little silver glitter paper snowflakes. I think the die is from these snowflakes. Let's see, one is from a couple of the older kids. Let's see, Special Delivery, and then the other one is from, the bigger one is from Heartfelt Holiday. Although, of course, if you have some of our holiday foundation dies, there's also some snowflake dies that would work well in there as well. All right, a pop dot for that snowflake. And another one over here. And one last one. Okay, Loretta, in the 55 plus retreat I live in, we do bring out the trucks and load them up with carolers and go through the retreat. That sounds awesome. It's one of my favorite things. Well, I could see why. That would be really fun, especially with a big group. Awesome. Oh, thanks for the kind comments, Elaine, about the design team. And my cards, thank you. We are so lucky to have such talent. All right, so I'm going to put a little drop of glue in the center of my snowflakes. And I'm just using art glitter glue. I find that works really well for holding embellishments as well as paper. And I'm just going to add these little clear pinwheels. I don't know if you can see them on the card that well. Let's see. Oh, sorry. There we go. They do well here at just adding that little bit of something extra to the card. Right now they look a tiny bit cloudy because of that white glue, but as that glue dries clear, that will clear up. And I'm going to not hold it sideways yet because they won't stay put until they're dry, but within a few minutes they'll be dry and that will look clear and a little extra sparkly. So there's that card. All right, and it looks like it says my battery is about to die on my camera, so we might have to hold off on that third card. But let me just give you the general idea of what it was going to look like. Because it, again, just uses that fun new rounded die from the new foundation die set. So I'll just kind of lay it out for you. You can still see what it would look like. It's fast and easy too, but I don't want to lose you. Okay. Before my camera dies, you can see how quick and easy a nice big area for a big shaker can come together. So I've got this fun car from the Naughty or Nice kit. And that is the sentiment that was going to go there. And then I had these fun snowflakes that I was going to sprinkle around just like the other card. And you can see here too how these fun colored pinwheels would have looked. I was going to add those. Let's see. Smaller one on this side. Move my car over. Okay. Something along those lines. You can get the general idea. Oh, sorry, I got off camera again, didn't I? There we go. So that's how that card would have come together. So pretend we glued it. But before I let you all go tonight, I do want to pull out a sneak peek. And this is one that's coming up relatively soon. We have the Wildflower Shape Shaker and foundation dies coming. And they are going to be amazing, and I cannot wait for you to see them and play with them. But if you're a fan of simple and easy to put together shakers, these are going to be pretty easy. You have the option of just doing just the black layer, or if you want to add a little extra color, there's a layer that can go behind the black layer for these flowers. And then the foundation dies are going to be amazing. Kind of a more, our current flower foundations are like symmetrical, and these are more natural looking, more wildflower. And here's a general idea of what that would look like on a card in this size. Back out just a bit. So there is your sneak peek. This one is coming up maybe even mid-August. I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to Wendy about how we're doing with getting all the supplies in, but that one's coming up relatively soon. And I'm very, very excited about that. Whew, okay, I'm going to go back through and scroll through and read comments and try to answer any questions that didn't get answered. But I sure want to thank all of you for coming tonight, for being part of the launch. I'll lay out what we almost finished accomplishing here. Be sure and check out the 25% off category for our Christmas in July event. If you missed anything in a previous order, want to go back and add it, you still can. Oops, I knocked that off because it wasn't glued down yet. But I do appreciate you very much for being here tonight and for supporting Queen & Company, and I hope that you will have a wonderful time playing with the new Christmas in July products. Everyone have a fabulous night, and I will see you again next release. Good night.